Town residents turn out to hear possible plans for a new high school. We'll take you to a recent public forum where a new study lays out a possible new master plan. What happens to East Longmeadow if MGM comes to Springfield? Representatives from the casino meet with town officials, including department heads and the Board of Selectmen. And the special town meeting is just days away. One warrant item includes a new Pine Knoll pool. The EL Rec Director explains why it won't cost town residents a cent. Those stories and Spartan Sports headlines coming up on ELCAT News Week in Review. Good evening, I'm Alexi Cohan. We begin tonight with talk of a new high school. Town residents turned out for a public forum earlier this week. On the agenda, possible plans for not only a new high school, but to get a closer look at a new study on each and every school in town. The goal of the study, to keep East Longmeadow students up to speed in the 21st century.
This evening, what we hope to do is walk you through some of the work that's gone on for really the last 6 or 7 months.
On Thursday, October 10th, a public community forum was held at the East Longmeadow High School cafeteria to discuss plans regarding our public schools. A presentation was delivered to explain several processes, costs, and ideas. A lot of needs were outlined for our schools in town.
And the projections start to look at that we will grow slightly. We will start to move to a potential enrollment of around 2,873. And actually this year, we're already above the projection, 2,764 students as of October 1st.
Aside from growth concerns, technology, furniture, and basic structure needs were also mentioned.
So the furniture you have in the schools is old, it's outdated, a lot of it is one-piece sled desks, it's very heavy, it's very inflexible, it is not what is student-focused today, it doesn't allow for project-based learning, it doesn't allow for quick change around if you want to do something different, do team support, do team planning. It is simply a stationary road seating. It is past its time, it was good for a long time, it is not where education is moving today.
So the changing of furniture can go a long way to changing how teaching and learning takes place in a room. Also, things like different types of spaces, large group instruction, small group instruction spaces, the ability to have additional teaching surfaces within a classroom. So currently you walk into most classrooms, there's a marker board at the front of the room, and again, set up for teacher-focused learning. The idea that if we are creating flexible environments, we have teaching surfaces on multiple walls within the school.
A database discussion evaluated the urgency of such needs, and architect project manager Lorraine Finnegan was able to explain.
The school continues to get older, continues to have deficits, you continue to invest money in it. So you're investing money into an older building that you cannot progress educationally. So there is a point where you say you're losing your investments. It doesn't really matter what your neighbors have done, it matters what's important for East Longmeadow. Economies are changing, we're coming out of the recession, costs are starting to rise. So it's important to not fall behind and be too far down the road when costs have risen. It's also important to understand, are you giving the students the best benefit for moving on to college?
After database stats were collected and explained, it is clear that the high school needs the most work, and Superintendent Gordon Smith agrees.
All our schools are aging. What we presented tonight in this first public forum around our master plan and our facility study is that as we look at the needs, the high school comes in at incredibly undersized for almost every academic space when you're looking at current Mass School Building Authority guidelines. The high school at the moment may have more urgency based on those current guidelines. And those would be things like the science lab classrooms, your general academic space for traditional classrooms, say like social studies, English, math. Those are all undersized with current guidelines that are set based on how curriculum is delivered today and how teaching and learning goes on in our schools.
Of course, with such need comes great cost, and as the presentation outlined, it would cost nearly $100 million for a new high school, a staggering total for some.
Certainly, costs when you talk about capital projects like this are, when you first look at them, they're incredibly large numbers. It's hard to wrap your head around these numbers. As you start to break it down and you see how the costs are derived, it becomes a little bit more understandable.
Public opinion and community impact will become of utmost importance during this process. Several audience questions and opinions were voiced, offering helpful solutions to the problems with our schools.
With our school districts, I would like to see a complete remodel. I think that our facilities are way past overdue and that it would be beneficial for not only our school but for our town if we got a new building for the high school.
I would love to see that our schools remain viable and we put all our students in the best possible learning environment so that they are mastering skills for the 21st century. If we can do that, we're doing justice to all our students.
The next step may be yet another public forum. A date and time have not yet been set. Stay tuned to ELCAT for news and updates. Checking in on other news in town, if MGM gets its way and builds a casino in Springfield, East Longmeadow officials want to make sure the impact to our community is minimized. MGM representatives met with East Longmeadow department heads along with the Board of Selectmen last week. It's part of an ongoing conversation the casino giant is having with surrounding communities.
The purpose of today's meeting was so that all of our department heads could let the MGM representatives know what our concerns were. The MGM representatives will be developing an impact statement, and we want to make sure that they're addressing all of our concerns here in East Longmeadow.
Thorpe says the October 10th meeting is just part of a string of meetings with MGM and East Longmeadow in anticipation of what-ifs.
And right now, we're dealing with the unknown, and nobody's ever done this before, and so we're making sure that we're at the table and saying this could be a possibility, so that way it can be mitigated and our East Longmeadow residents don't have to pay a hefty price for it if it comes down to that.
East Longmeadow and other local cities and towns are partnering with the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission to do a potential traffic impact study should a casino come to Springfield. Thorpe says the Board of Selectmen also needs to look at a wider range of potential issues a casino may bring.
We're also looking at what the response will be to, or the impact will be on our small businesses, what the impact will be on our traffic, which is also in that traffic study, but also the traffic around the center or if people are trying to do different things. Ambulances, the response time of an ambulance, if there's a bigger event down in Springfield at the casinos. We're also looking at if there's going to be an impact on our school system, which is a big concern. If people are going to be moving our infrastructure, how will we handle the shift?
The Board of Selectmen have voted to place a warrant on the upcoming October 21st town meeting agenda. A yes vote would fund an independent casino impact study for the town. That money, according to the board, will be reimbursed by MGM through the Massachusetts Gaming Commission. Another warrant on the October 21st special town meeting agenda is the use of money from the Community Preservation Fund to build a brand new pool at Pine Knoll. ELCAT got an up-close look at the current pool, and we also talked to Recreation Director Colin Drury about why he says the pool just can't go another season.
We are looking at what is a filter system from 1958.
Colin Drury gave ELCAT a tour of the 55-year-old pool and what's kept it running since day one.
So this is the system, and the filter comes into here, it goes through the system, gets chemicalized, and shoots right back in the pool. It's a very simple system, and that's how it was done back in the 50s. Problems with the pool is that it's a 55-year-old pool. It lives in the outdoors, which typically a life of an outdoor pool is between 30 to 35 years, somewhere in there. And the big issue that we're having is that we're actually seeing the earth actually now push the pool because it's so old and porous that it pushes the pool, which is how we're losing all the water as well, because we get a lot of cracks, either minute cracks or huge blow-ins where we have to fix them. So that's the big issue that we're seeing is we're losing water. The system is very, very old, and it's kind of archaic.
Drury says the pool loses about 4,000 gallons of water a day. That's 300,000 gallons of water a season.
Which is kind of scary because we don't know where it's going. It's probably going right back down into our well, and then our well pumps it back up and puts it right back in the pool. But we are having to use chemicals to actually re-chemicalize the water each day, which costs a lot of money. The condition of the pool really, makes people go away from it. In the summer, I'd rather go into a pool that's about 70 degrees, 77 degrees, somewhere in there, which is nice and refreshing, but not too cold. Our well water is about 60 degrees. So we're losing 4,000 gallons and pumping in 4,000 gallons, so it's constantly at that like 60 to 64 degree, which is not good for little kid swim lessons, which is not good for senior water aerobics. And if those programs existed, we may have one person that might want to do them. So we're seeing membership go down.
You may recall last year, town residents voted to fund a new pool. So what happened, you may wonder?
So the need was there. A 55-year-old pool that the DPW is spending 200 plus man hours putting back together each season. So we hired a company to come in and give us a budget for the project that we needed for this town based on the amount of use we have, based on the programs that we currently do, and the ability to grow into the pool slightly. So the person gave us a budget. This was somebody who had been in aquatics for 40 years. So the person gave us a budget. We then went to the Community Preservation Committee. They approved it. We then went to the town. The town approved it. So conceptually speaking, the town says, yes, we need a new pool. So we were all excited. So then we went out to request for qualifications, brought in an architect. The architect then about 2.5 months later said, you don't have enough money. But we weren't sure who was way off. Was it the first guy or the second guy? So we actually put it out to bid. And we had a construction company come in and actually say, hey, this is how much it's going to cost to build the pool for the East Long Meadow. And his bid came in at $735,300. So now we know that the first guy did a bad job for this town, and the second guy was more realistic.
Drury says none of the funding will come from taxpayers.
And the real nice part about community preservation money is that it won't raise the taxes of those in the town. It's not going to raise your taxes a cent to get this project done. All it's going to do is give you more services.
The new pool will look something like this. Drury says it will be designed for toddlers on up to seniors.
A lot of pools are being built now with 0-degree entries. So it's meaning you can walk in, you can wheel in, you can limp in. It doesn't really matter. The nice part is there's a railing that goes right down in. So the access is a lot nicer for seniors. It's a lot nicer for those who are in wheelchairs, those who may have a leg injury, or even have stability or balance issues, which is going to allow us to do more than just serve the children here in town. It's going to allow us to actually serve everyone that lives right here in town.
If all goes as planned and the town votes yes on October 21st, Drury says a new pool could be in place by June of 2014.
I don't want to see kids not have a pool up here at Pine Knoll. I want to see them doing cannonballs and having a great time, because this summer is a little bit up in the air with this pool. We don't know if we're going to be able to put it back together again with the current system that we have. So really, it's time, and we're looking forward to it.
In other news tonight, East Long Meadow police are warning residents to lock their cars. A series of break-ins in town is prompting the warning. Sergeant Pat Manley says the break-ins are happening thanks to residents leaving their cars unlocked in their own driveways. Manley says 9 times out of 10, thieves simply open the door and take whatever they want.
What they'll do is they'll hit a neighborhood and they'll go through all the cars in the neighborhood. They look for unlocked cars. They don't want to have to make a lot of noise at night. They're not going to break a window or pry a door. They're going to check the door. If it's unlocked, they're going to open the door. They often will break your interior light so they can't be seen out there. If somebody does look out the window, they're not going to see that light on, so they're not going to call. And then they don't close the car door when they leave. They leave it ajar. They'll close it pretty close to all the way, but not enough. They don't want to make any noise.
Manley urges residents to lock their cars. He says alarms are a big deterrent as well. Also, believe it or not, police are already thinking of the holidays. As we head into November, he says, beware of thieves who target local shopping centers.
The break-ins in the shopping centers spike a little more during the holiday times, because thieves believe, and in fact it's true, you shop at one store, you go to the next store, you have left valuables in the car. And they know there's more of a chance of finding stuff during the holiday season as we approach it. So it usually peaks as we approach the holidays. We usually get more breaks at the shopping centers. So I would caution people as we approach the holiday season to be more keenly aware of that.
Police say stow bags out of sight, not just under a coat or blanket. The government shutdown is apparently not having an adverse effect on the distribution of flu shots across the nation. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says distribution of this year's vaccine is on schedule. In fact, most communities, including East Longmeadow, are already stocked. Top infectious disease experts at Bay State Medical Center say now is the time if you haven't already received your shot. They also dispel two popular myths that you can get sick from the flu shot and that if you got it last year, you don't need it again this year. Both not true, they say. Flu season usually runs from October to May and normally peaks in January or February. Doctors say it takes 1 to 2 weeks for your body to make antibodies against the influenza. Let's turn now to sports. A lot to cover with the Spartans this week. With Matt and Domenico.
How's it going, everyone? Let's begin with girls soccer. The Lady Spartans soccer team hosted Lennox Tuesday night and gave the Millionaires, yes, that's actually their nickname, a long ride home with a 7-0 thrashing right here at East Longmeadow High School. Ashley Horgan and Kate Beluzzo each had 2 goals apiece. Shannon Kennedy chipped in with 2 assists. On Wednesday night, the Spartans took their game on the road to face their rival, the Lancers from Longmeadow High School. Kylie Casey and Ashley Horgan each had 1 goal. Danny White also scored her first goal of the season as the Spartans beat the Lancers 3-1. Just in case you're counting with us at home, that's 8 straight victories for the Lady Spartans as they improved to 8-4-1 on the season. The boys soccer team hosted Westfield on Wednesday night and got off to a quick 5-1 lead at halftime. Matt Mooney had 3 goals and 2 assists, and Nate Madeira chipped in with 2 goals as the Spartans went off to handily defeat the Bombers 8-3. On Friday night, Chris Kokotis scored the only goal for the Spartans as they tied Minnechaug 1-1. East Longmeadow then went on to play Pittsfield on Monday, which also ended in a 1-1 draw. The boys are now 6-3-3 on the season. The Spartans field hockey team had a busy week. It started with a win over Athol on Tuesday, 2-0. Brianna Welch and Gavin Nash scored to lead the Spartans. Then it was on to Northampton on Thursday, where they suffered a 5-0 loss at the hands of the Blue Devils. Then on Friday night, Kelly O'Shea scored the lone goal in a 1-1 tie at home against Palmer. On Monday, the Spartans were blanked by the Terriers of West Springfield 2-0. The record is now 6-7-1 as they look to qualify for the postseason eligibility. The girls volleyball team split their matches last week. First, they suffered a 3-0 defeat at the hands of Chicopee Comp on Tuesday. 2 days later, they went on to beat Westfield 3-1 to improve to 4-8 on the season as they look to turn things around at West Springfield. On a brighter note, the Spartans football team traveled to Springfield to play the Beavers from Putnam High School on Friday night. It was a close game throughout, as East Longmeadow relied heavily on their sophomore running back, Mike Magipinto. The stellar running back had 5 touchdowns on the night and rushed for 259 yards, leading the Spartans to a 40-34 victory. And by the way, Magipinto leads all running backs in Western Mass with 13 rushing touchdowns, and he's second in Western Mass with 817 yards, averaging over 163 yards per game on the ground. The Spartans improved to 4-1 on the season, and they will face Minnechaug in their next contest. That'll do it for sports. I'm Matt Domenico. Until next time, have a good night, everybody.
That'll do it for us tonight. Thank you for watching ELCAT News Week in Review. I'm Lexi Cohan. Good night.